Shalom, Rainicorns, it's Ellie here. And so today we're going to be talking about basically toxic family dynamics and things like narcissistic abuse, gang stalking within families, being made uncomfortable in the home. People are familiar with the terminology like black sheep and things of that nature, targeted individuals, the golden child, family favorites, the parent favorites, dysfunctional family dynamics, just all those things in general. And I will be sharing my personal story of how I experienced this, how I overcame this, how I'm still working through these things, how I am still healing from these traumatic experiences, and what I'm doing as a parent to ensure that certain patterns do not continue within my own nuclear family, within my own direct family, when I do have everything put back together in my own life. And so, in my particular family, my parents have 5 children. There are 3 children birthed from both of my parents, and there are 2 stepchildren. And so, my eldest brothers, they are both stepchildren. And automatically, when you have stepchildren or bonus babies, that are new terminologies, are more welcoming to having blended families, there's automatically resistance. It's the whole "you're not my dad," like it's that whole situation going on in the child's mind, which was very prevalent for my brother, the one who was my mother's son and not my father's son. And so I do believe that there's a lot of colorism as well. My mother and my brother are very, very bright skinned, yellow skinned, and my father and my eldest brother are very darker skinned. They're like darker than like mocha, so they're considered to be darker skinned. It's not even like caramel. I'm light skinned, kind of mixed in, sort of thing. And so I was always like right in the middle of everything in the family. I'm literally the middle child. There's 2 eldest brothers, 2 youngest siblings, and I'm right in the middle. The firstborn daughter from both of my parents. And so my eldest brother on my father's side never gave me too many issues where like he had issues, he had problems. They don't, and if we're going to compare, it was never in comparison to my mother's son, because of the way that my mother treated me and the rest of my siblings, and how she always showed favoritism towards my brother, who was her son from her previous marriage. And so, in a very literal sense, my mother never did, I don't think she did any type of shadow work from her previous marriage before getting into a relationship with my father. And I can be very, very direct saying that because I'm a bastard child. I was born while my mother was still legally married to my brother's father. And so my last name was different. One of my core memories from when I was younger was I was very young, and my brother was being, picked up, co-parenting. He was being picked up by his father or being dropped off, whichever way it was. And my brother was still calling his father Dada at the time. So he was leaving. And so my brother's like, saying Dada this, whatever. And I said, bye, Dada. And everyone started laughing. And I didn't know what was funny. Okay, so this is like a really big form of shadow work for me, and y'all know, like, I'll be hard in these streets, and I'm finna cry right now, and I didn't expect that. Y'all got to bear with me. I wasn't expecting to cry over that. I've been thinking, oh my gosh, no. Y'all give me 1 second. We gotta keep it gangster, cuz. We don't cry around here. Yes, we do. We cry a lot. When it's necessary. And for like things like shadow work, things like this, it's necessary to cry. Because that lets you know that you're healing. And so that was one of my core memories of being a young person and being like, I thought I was saying bye to my dad. I don't know what's funny. And no one explained to me why I was wrong. If it had been like, oh, that's not your father, that's, your brother's father, this is actually your father. Like, if I had been given an explanation on why I was wrong, it would have been totally different. But the fact that no one explained anything to me, I always grew up confused. And so by the time I got into first grade, um, I had gone through learning a different last name. I didn't know what my father's last name was. I always thought I had one last name. And then I get to first grade, I'm going to a new school. It's a totally new environment where I was in kindergarten. Everybody looked like me. It was a very diverse environment, and it wasn't difficult to navigate. And then I end up going to an all-white school where there's only one other black kid in the entire grade, and we happen to be in the same class because that's how they do things when you go to predominantly white institutions. They put all the minorities in one class if they can. And so I'm in this school with this one other black kid in my class in my entire grade, and now I'm learning a whole new last name. And I feel stupid because it's like, oh damn, I don't know my last name. That's wild. And so, wouldn't you think that it's a mother's responsibility to explain to a child what they are going through? That never happened. And even though in my title I'm making it a very clear point to emphasize my brother's abuse, I am saying the things that my brother did to me are because my mom, not only did she allow it, she encouraged it and enforced it by her actions. And so growing up, I never had any issues with my brother, honestly. It was just like petty, child stuff, and we would have fun. We would play his video games, we would wrestle, like we would all cook together. There wasn't anything that was bad happening while we were children, while my mom was single. So my mom, she had me and my younger sister with my father. They were still unmarried. Like I said, I was a bastard, and so is my sister. We're both bastards in the family dynamic. And so my mom didn't get married to my father until years later when my youngest sibling was born. So in the midst of us being bastard kids, having a single mom, it was, everything was chilling, everything was cool, and there were no real issues that we had to face as siblings. And then once my parents made it clear that they were going to be in a relationship and a marriage, that was when most of our issues started. And uh, how it's centered on my mother and my brother. My brother would throw different tantrums, like typical stepson, stepfather type of tantrums, where, like, nobody's perfect. Like, my dad's not a perfect person. At the same time, he never did anything that was worth the type of treatment that my brother and my mother would give, which is even more confusing because it's like, you've already had two kids with this guy, speaking to my mom, you've already had two kids with this guy, and now you're having a third one, being pregnant, newborn situation, and my father's getting all type of crazy treatment when he's paying the bills. Like, I grew up with a father who comprehends the actual true dynamics of what it means to be a family. It's just he happened to pick a partner that couldn't fulfill that as a wife. So when I speak on things, I don't speak from a place of ignorance. I speak from the principles that my father taught me and his lack of choosing a correct partner to fulfill those things throughout his lifetime. So I learned from the mistakes of both of my parents, and I learned from the actual true teachings that my father teaches as a father. And so my mom would do things like, if anything happened with my brother, or just she felt upset about something, she found no issue with calling the police on my dad and blatantly lying to the police. And that's happened to me with her sometimes, and it's like there's no issue calling the police and lying to them to try to get someone locked up, except for my brother. So this is where I'm going to get into the direct abuse. The abuse started when I was an older teenager. I was maybe 16, yeah, 16 going on 17 at the time. And my brother's fairly older than me. And so he's already in his 20s by the time I'm 16, 17 years old. And he started to just be in my business all the time for no reason. And that even started beforehand, but it wasn't as bad because he was like 18. And so no one was like tripping on it. It just seemed like petty sibling stuff. But once he became an adult person and he was still like in my business to where it was very uncomfortable and alarming, no one did anything about it. Even my youngest siblings, we all would be like, yo, why is he acting like that? Like we're still making jokes about it to this day because of how ridiculous it is, and the fact that he's still in the same mind. He doesn't think he's doing anything wrong because my mom encourages it. This dude is in his 30s now, still portraying the same character that he developed when I was a older teenager. And so at first I was thinking that, oh, okay, he's just trying to protect me. He's just my older brother. Like, oh, okay, stay away from boys. And like, I was thinking that that was his mentality because otherwise it wouldn't make any sense to me. I was trying to make sense of his insanity. And then it started to turn into lying about money, stealing money from me and my sister, stealing my clothes and wearing them and not giving them back. Again, this is my brother who's fairly older than me, stealing my clothes to wear them instead of just asking my mom for some money so he could buy his own clothes. In his 20s, didn't have a job at the time. And it's like, if you need clothes, just ask mom to take you to Walmart or Target or Walgreens or like, I don't know, wherever you need to get some clothes at, go get some. You don't have to go in my clothes and steal them without my permission. And you don't have to steal change from me and your younger siblings. Like, it doesn't really make sense to do that. And even in his habits, like, my mom would excuse everything my brother did, but if I came anywhere close, or even if I didn't do anything at all, she would blatantly lie about my behavior. So when he started smoking, I don't smoke cigarettes. He smokes cigarettes. When he started smoking, he would use anything as an ashtray. My mom's always complaining about, this being ashed on, this being burnt, that being used as an ashtray. When it was all my brother, it was all him. She has this dryer that's placed outside, so that's in the usual smoke spot, and he would use that as an ash. And he would ash in her car, like any sort of thing, like a cup or something that she would be using, he would use that to ash in. Not a plastic cup, not a styrofoam cup, not a paper cup, an actual plastic cup. Sometimes I think he may have done it in ceramic cups, but the plastic ones that are reusable and washable that you're not supposed to ash in, he would just ash in it. And he used one of my son's toy chairs, like the baby chairs. He used that to ash on. And it's a continued behavior over years. Like I said, this has been an almost a decade sort of situation. Huh? See, my son didn't even know that. Now he feeling away. I did. I wasn't trying to. He did. I had to throw it away. Oh God, no. Okay. Yeah. So, not my son, Matt. I wasn't even trying to get that. I'm doing shadow work, and I am providing a space for other people to share their own stories. So if you have your own stories, you can leave them in the comment section when the video is over, not in the live chat, but when the video is over, you can leave your stories. But I wasn't even trying to do that to my son. Now he thinking, and I wasn't trying to even do that. I was giving an example of how that sort of behavior is always excused for him. But again, false police calls on me and my father for situations that either never happened or were highly exaggerated. Watch out. And so it got to the point where it was hundreds of my own money that I was working for, like whether I was working a regular job or you know, y'all know me, I've been a hustler for a while. So I would make my own money even outside of my job that I had at the time, being a young teen. Like I was literally 16, 17 years old, just getting money. Like I just do what I do, I get money. And so it would be to the point of hundreds of my dollars either being manipulated out of me by like, oh, the house needs this, and you're the one with the money, so you pay for this sort of thing, or oh, I need to borrow some money and I'm never getting paid back sort of thing, by my elder brother. Like this is an older person who's supposed to be doing all that for me. Like it's not like, even if we weren't brother and sister, just the fact that it's an elder masculine, the roles were always reversed. I was always treated as an elder masculine person, even though I'm a younger feminine person. And so none of it mattered though. My mom always excused his behavior and would lie on me. And I don't know if she would lie on my youngest siblings, but I know for sure she would lie on me. And so, it got to the point where I had to secretly move out. I got a plan together with my dad, because by this time my dad was like done with trying to make things work with my mom as far as living with her. He just kept things cordial, where he would co-parent and they would do their thing, how they would do their thing. They would have their family thing, and that they just do what they do. It's none of my business, besides the fact where I was abused by these people. So me and my dad had to come together and create a plan for me to be able to move out without anyone knowing about it. You shouldn't have to like secretly collude with people for your safety. Because it was to the point where my brother was like screaming and yelling out of nowhere sometimes. Like if I needed to do something, like I told y'all, I had dual enrollment for my schooling. So that meant I was homeschooled. At the same time, I had my college courses at the University of Memphis, and I would have to do important things like go to my school to file paperwork or get some assignments done, turned in, whatever. And he would just be crazy, and I don't use that word lightly. I mean literally, like he would be driving the car, because it would be a point too where I would try to drive and he would make it difficult for me to focus on the road. Like I'd be trying to drive and he's doing something, distracting me, so I would just be like, here, you drive, I'm not even finna drive with you in the car. But he would just not do what's necessary, so I would have to reschedule things. And it's my schoolwork. It's not me going to the mall, it's not me going to the movies, it's not me hanging out with my friends at the park. I have to go to school. I'm paying for school. I'm getting scholarships for school. I need to go to my school for important things. And he would even do this thing where his phone wouldn't be on. He wouldn't pay his bill for whatever reason. He wouldn't ask my mom for money to do that. And he would ask to use my phone, and instead of, like, I'll put the screen up so he could call for whatever he needs to do, and this guy would go through my phone. Like, he would go through my messages and see who I'm talking to. And then try to come at me about it. And tell my mom things that are either exaggerated or blatant lies. And even if he was telling the truth, it was none of his business in the first place. And so it got to a point, like I said, I had to partner with my dad and figure out how I can move out without anyone knowing about it. And so me and my dad got an apartment together, because he wasn't staying like in a place where he would just want me to be so I could just pack my bag and move in. We had to get an apartment together. And so then I was able to remove myself from that environment. And so that was cool up until I moved out of me and my dad's apartment, and I got an apartment with my boyfriend, who I then later married. There was a situation that was happening to where I had to go to my mom's house while I was still living with my dad. I don't remember exactly what happened, but it was a car situation. It was a vehicle situation. So I had to go to my mom's house so she could make sure that I was getting a ride to work. My mom called me and said, keep the keys away from your brother. Because, like I told y'all, he would get in the car and just do crazy stuff. He was doing this even after I left, which is why, it's not just me being attacked. It's just his behavior that's always enabled by my mom. And so, even though she's on the phone telling me, keep the keys away from your brother, and I tell him that, he was like, give me the keys so I could go. What he would do was he would get the car, run all the gas out of it, so anytime anyone needed to do anything, there was no gas. And he didn't have a job. He wasn't doing anything to contribute for real to the home, so it was like, why? So she tells me, keep the keys away from him, and he throws a huge tantrum. He starts like beating on the door, and then he starts kicking the door and makes a hole in the wall, and then he starts running after me, and my sister tackles him, and she's like, run. So I run out of the house, and I think either the sheriffs were already there, or I had to call the sheriffs. One of the neighbors was outside, and they also called, because in that area it wasn't the Memphis police, it was the Shelby County Sheriff. And so the sheriff had to come do an investigation. They saw, the holes in the walls. They got my testimony, they got my sister's testimonies, and my brother had to go to jail for a little while, and he had to go to court. He had to hire a lawyer. They asked me what I wanted his sentence to be, and I said I just want him to go to anger management. I didn't want him to go to jail and serve time. I just wanted him to stop his behavior. So I said he needs to go to anger management, and I'm done with it. Like, that's my brother. I'm not tripping. It's just like this whole situation got out of hand where this dude's trying to jump on me, and then my other siblings having to tackle this dude to keep him from harming me. This is the reason I moved out in the first place, and now I'm in a situation where I simply need a ride to work, and my mom's trying to make sure that gas stays in the car. Don't give this guy the keys, and I'm getting literally physically attacked for it. So even after all of this, him going to jail, serving whatever time in the cell, it was holding. I don't think he went to, like, he didn't go to jail, I don't think. Having to hire a lawyer, going to court, going to and completing anger management, his cycle started to come back after that. So instead of it being a daily thing where he would do and say whatever, it would be like he would have his moments. He would have his glitch moments where he would get into a mode of trying to hurt and attack me. Because even at that particular period, no, it wasn't at that period. It was a while after that. I had moved in with my boyfriend at the time. And so we had gotten into a situation, as expected, just young people living on their own. I'm going to go to my mom's house for a little bit, and just really we was just chilling. And then we were all trying to work together with the way that our family was. And it was just like, okay, cool, we're going to do this and that. My brother just lost his mind and just started screaming stuff that didn't make any sense. And so, I'm not going to lie, my ex threw an apple at the wall. My brother calls the police and says he was shot. Again, my ex threw an apple at the wall. He threw an apple at the wall. No hole in the wall, just a little scatter mark. Apple breaks. Not condoning or excusing that behavior. At the same time, calling the police and saying that you were shot. So we immediately had to leave, because that was not, you can't even dispute that, because then I don't know what happened after that point, but the police, they have to investigate, they have to do a report. If there was no gunshots anywhere, if there was no bullets, if there's no gun, there's no case. So there was nothing after that. There was no file made, no one contacted me or my ex to testify for nothing, so it was just dropped. At the same time, why is this behavior continued and repeated all the time by these people, my mom and my brother? It's like, why are they allowed to call the police and lie on people who, I'm not perfect, my dad's not perfect, we all know my ex isn't perfect. At the same time, calling the police and lying is not, that's illegal. Like, that's illegal. That's against the law. These people have been doing this for years and no one has said anything. And so that happens. And then I go through the motions with my ex, and then we end up splitting up. So I'm still living at my mom's house single. And this is years later. Like, me and my ex, we had, our situation, started the business, got the house and stuff like that. The business failed with the business partners and we ended up losing the house, so we had to move back in with my mom. My ex couldn't take it, he leaves, he does his own thing, so I'm a single mom back at my mom's house. Instead of just letting me live and get my life together to just be a person, my brother makes it a point to intentionally get into my life in some way. Like, he would love bomb me and then act all types of erratic and insane randomly. And I learned his cycles, so then I would intentionally avoid him at whatever cost that I felt like his cycle was about to repeat itself. And so there would be times he would literally steal my things and hide them, and he would move stuff around, and he would just like play, like, you would think they were petty games, but it was my manipulation to make me think something that wasn't true. He even made it a point to blame my son for something, because my son was a little baby, so he couldn't speak all the way at the time. So it's like, oh, well, MJ did that. And it's just like, okay, now you're blaming a child for your behavior. Like, this is absolutely out of hand, to the point where, again, he throws a tantrum, puts a hole in the wall, and I'm having to call my dad, and my other brother happened to be in the neighborhood at the time, and I call him over. I'm like, dude, I don't know what's going on. Dude's going crazy. He's talking on the phone, saying stuff like, this is, I shoot people and shit like that. Like, he's saying those things to some imaginary person on the phone. Whether he's talking to a person on the phone or not, it was none of their business what was going on, because he wasn't even telling what the story was. And so he's doing that stuff. This is like a few years ago, in like 2020. And that sort of behavior, it would just happen at least once or twice a year, continued. And it's like, I would do my best to just not be around. And the period I was at most recently was where my son had gone through his child abuse case with his father. So I did not have my son for a good while last year, because me and his father were co-parenting. And so his father decided that he wanted to have both of his kids full time. I was like, cool, that's great. Couldn't do it. His girlfriend abused the kids. They're taken away, or at least my son. They're both taken away by Child Protective Services. So I'm back with my son. So I had to change my entire life up in order for, my son to fit back into what I had going on in my life, which was like, y'all know I was traveling a lot with a lot of people. Even though I was in some dangerous situations, it was easy for me to always escape. That sounds crazy, but anyway, with me having my son, along with the fact that CPS is now involved in our business, and the fact that people were lying on me, saying all sorts of things about me, including my mother. So this is where my mother, it comes back into play. First is my mom, my mother, like, fueling my brother and enabling his behavior. Then she goes to my ex's toxic behavior and fuels his behavior. It was always an attack on me directly. In some sort of way, is how can we attack this person? So again, I don't take every single thing personally, because she's just not a good person. She does a lot of stuff towards all of my siblings and different people she knows at the same time, to a point where always trying to get law enforcement involved in my life in some sort of negative way, it's just beyond me. Like, because even going back a little bit in 2019, she called the police on me right after I had gotten out of jail over some traffic stuff. I had a car accident, and I didn't have my registration and my insurance done correctly because I had just gotten the car. Lo and behold, I got in a car accident while I was pregnant, and so um, I couldn't finish that case because I didn't have my registration or my insurance filed properly or whatever. And so I ended up getting a ticket for that car accident. And even though I kept like going to court and doing what I was supposed to do, I just couldn't pay it at the time. And so my license ended up getting suspended. And I had ended up at a jail, and so that's a whole different topic. But they were like, "Hey, you're gonna actually spend time in a cell tonight because your license is suspended. You were supposed to pay the fees a long time ago," stuff like that. So that's how I ended up in jail. So I get out, and then she calls the police on me again because I was upset with her about something very, very serious. And she says, "I'm going to call the police and I'm going to make sure they keep you this time." And I'm like, so I went to jail for a suspended license. I get my license unsuspended. I finish all the stuff that's necessary for me to be able to drive legally on the road. Then you're saying that you're going to call the police on me to make sure they keep me this time because you're upset with me addressing you about something and confronting you and being serious. People think I'm just tough on the internet. No, I'm in real life correcting my parents, correcting my family members, correcting people who are around me. I'm not just some tough little girl online who likes to call grown men bitches. No, I called my brother a bitch, and I told my mom to her face, "You raised a bitch." So she calls the police on me. I like walk away from the house so the police don't see me, and I call my dad and I let him know what's going on. So he goes over to the house, and then he explains to the police like, "Yeah, blah blah blah." You know, they have a conversation and they leave. Again, the law enforcement being called when it's not necessary. And so once the situation happened with my son, I'm in literal actual crisis mode for my son. Child Protective Services had to come to the house. It was DHS, if I'm not mistaken, Department of Human Services. They had to come to the house, do an inspection, everything. Everybody knew my situation was going on, and everybody was like, you know, walking around and like anxious because, you know, okay, CPS is coming to the house and stuff like that. So no one's ignorant to my situation or my son's situation. Mind you, again, I was not expecting to have my son with me at that time period. So I'm actively struggling to, because I was fine by myself. I could do whatever by myself. I don't care. Like me personally by myself, I'm fine. But you know, you have to behave a certain way when you have your child with you. So I'm actively struggling. And I cooked a particular meal for me and my son, and my brother decided to make it a huge. Let me just preface this. Before my son came back with me, I made it a point to avoid all these people at any means necessary, even though we were living in the same area. So we're at the same house, but I'm actively sleeping outside. I didn't care. I did not care. I was actively sleeping outside. I set up shop outside of the house so I would not have to come in contact with these people as much as possible. I would cook and I would use the bathroom sometimes, because y'all know I use the bathroom outside. That's part of my connection with nature. That's me and Gaia's bonding. So I didn't care. I would go inside, I would shower, I would cook food, and if I had like even some, you know, if I felt like using the bathroom inside, I would use it. But even then, I was avoiding being in the house at any means by any means necessary. And so he would make it a point to linger around where I was staying outside. He would make it a point to be around whenever I came into the house. He would make it a point to just be around me as much as possible when I'm actively avoiding everyone. I made it clear to everyone, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want y'all to talk to me. I don't want y'all to be around me. I'm just here because this is all I have right now, and I'm trying my hardest. Leave me alone. Just leave me alone. So I'm actively being by myself as much as I possibly can, and being disrespected blatantly by my brother in that way. Like, no one else in my family was bothering me like that. And so my son gets back with me, and then I cook a meal that I didn't specifically like get, because I was eating, y'all know we were preserving food and stuff like that. So I was eating a lot of preserved food, but because my son was in such a state, he couldn't eat preserved food like that. He needed to have fresh food that was either freshly cooked or that was just fresh, like fruits and vegetables and stuff. So I made some food. My brother got mad about it, made a big, huge deal about it, and continued super petty behaviors even after that point. That argument got so serious to where he's yelling about it while I'm in the shower, actively about to go to the grocery store to get more food. He is yelling about it to my mom while I'm in the shower. So I didn't care. I'm like, so you're really gonna do this? Because he's saying things like, no, she needs to hear this. My mom's like, oh, calm down, calm down. But he's saying things like, no, she needs to hear this. I want to make sure she hears this. Again, like I said, niggas think I'm just tough on the internet. I leave out the shower, no towel, no nothing, and I get up in that nigga face, and I'm like, so you really gonna do this right now? You really gonna do this right now? Like, you really acting like this right now? I'm finna head to the grocery store right now. You're doing all this over some little petty ass food that you probably didn't even buy. Like, are you serious? Me and my son are in this situation, and you're really acting like this right now. Like, and I didn't care. I didn't care, because how can I just keep being quiet? How can I keep staying to myself? How can I keep minding my own business? I'm not asking that dude for money. I'm not asking that dude for food. I'm talking to my parents and allowing them to help me out in whatever way they can. Both of my parents are entrepreneurs, so whenever I wasn't working a direct job, I would just have them, hire me for whatever it is they would need me to do, mostly social media stuff. Regardless of any of that, they're still my parents. I'm allowed to ask them for help. And so, I got in his face about that. And then he pulls a gun out. And my mom is like in her head excusing things. Saying, well, he already had the gun. And here, I'm like, why is a gun a topic in this situation? We're talking about a parcel of food here. We're talking about food that I cooked for myself and my son. Why is a gun in the conversation? What sense does that make? And so he's going off, he's saying this and saying that, and not making any sort of logical sense at all. And my mom's just like being complacent and just trying like to act like what's happening isn't happening. It's just, oh, calm down, calm down. Like, who were you telling to calm down? Because me personally, I was like, I was getting active as far as, being in my energy. At the same time, why would you tell me to calm down when I'm actively about to go to the grocery store? Me and my son are getting dressed and taking a shower, getting clean, so we could go to the grocery store. And this dude is talking about he has a gun and he doesn't like that I cooked some food that was in the house. Miss me with all that bullshit. And I was also told that I'm not allowed to use profanity. I don't cuss around my mom because she's one of those religious type of people who don't like cussing. At the same time, you're talking about a gun being pulled on me and this bitch is acting the way he's acting. No, I will call him a bitch and I will say that you raised a bitch. And I said that he's on that pussy shit with like all this situation. Like, I said that to her. So anytime profanity gets used in my mom's home, that's how you know shit's serious. But I was still ridiculed for that. That's what I'm saying. Despite all of his behavior, I'm still being told not to use profanity. Those are words. Those are words versus actions, where this person is pulling a gun and again beating on doors, and he broke his door. They had to go to Home Depot, get some tools to fix the door up. Like, do y'all see what I'm saying? And this happened recently. All the other stuff I told y'all about, I was 16, 17 years old. And this happened recently while my son was 5 years old. He's 6 now. So while people in the spiritual community think that they're gang stalking me and they're hurting my feelings, they're spreading rumors and false narratives and they're doing this and that, I'm dealing with real life shit in the third dimension. My son's getting physically abused by his father's girlfriend and they're trying to fight the case saying that my son's a liar. My ex-husband, that same exact person, is refusing to divorce me. And even though I paid my money and signed my documents back in 2020, and I've had this abusive sibling for almost a decade who's going crazy because I decided to cook some food that was in the refrigerator instead of pantry food. Nothing that you people on the internet can do or say, even if you make yourself present into my real life, will ever affect me the way that my family has already affected me for years. Regardless of any of that, my dad has to leave some sort of event that he was at. And you know how it is, like when males are in their formal attire, like, you know, suit, shoes, just clean, all that. So he was at that sort of event. He had to come to the house and like speak to everybody and do this whole thing. And my brother was being fake and weird. And then he gave me this fake apology like it happens in every situation. This is how I knew I broke the cycle. My brother gave me a fake apology. And I said in front of everybody, I do not accept your apology. I do not accept your fake apology. Because all you're going to do is keep doing the same thing over and over again like you've been doing over all these years. Like you've already been, and I brought that up. I was like, you've already been to jail for this exact thing that you're doing. You're coming at me thinking that you're just going to keep sliding and keep sliding and keep sliding because your bitch ass mama want to keep feeding you. This is why I know a lot of you niggas on these internet platforms are bitch made. I have a bitch made brother. I know what you are. That's why I know I'm not calling you out of your name. I know who you are. I recognize you. You are a bitch. So with all that going on, my dad's like, he's just, everybody's in this routine of doing the same thing over and over again. The same thing over and over again. And so, you know, am I really ridiculing my father? No. I know that he is an enabler to some extent. However, he doesn't live in the house with us. So he's just doing what he can as a father and, you know, providing for the home and protecting me as best as he can without putting physical hands on anybody, because my mom will call the police. She has called the police when she put her hands on him. Not you. My mother called the police on my father when she was the one who put hands on my father. So he knows there's no physical nothing. He knows that he can only speak in order to provide a certain atmosphere for the situation. And so everybody's doing all this talking and I'm really heated. Like I'm standing there like really ready to get physical because I'm like, hell the fuck no, like this not gonna keep happening. My son's already in a situation with the court system. Only reason we not calling 12 right now is because I don't want them involved in any more of my shit. Because I would have been called 12 after I beat that nigga ass for the shit that he did. I would have been did that. Why would I do that though when my son's already in the situation that he's in and people are trying to put me into a situation where I'm really finna lose my son? Like, this is the shit that no one is really talking about. Not just in my life, but in all of our lives. All of us who are targeted individuals, we're not just targeted by these outside forces. We're targeted by the people we live and sleep with. This is not a game. We might joke about it to heal ourselves, but this is not a game. Okay. This is not a game for any of us. This is real life shit that we deal with all the time. I choose to, well, I choose to get onto the internet and allow myself to be vulnerable and susceptible to some attacks because I know that that's what comes with the territory. I did not choose to have siblings and parents who would act this way. Of course, that's between me and my, my spirit team. I knew you before you were in your mother's womb. Okay, cool. We can figure out this soul contract shit because, excuse me, I don't know what y'all got going on over there, but I'm going to need something to get figured out because this is not it. This is not it. And even after that point of having that conversation, more situations started to happen where my brother would just, like I told y'all, even though I wasn't sleeping outside anymore, because I had to make sure I had my son in the house for him to have a proper environment, I was still actively avoiding everybody. I wasn't talking to nobody. And there was even before that conversation, you know, I'm trying my best to let my son have a normal childhood. So playing the uncle role, my brother would be like, hey, you know, you could watch video games while I play, let you watch me, or you could play on the joystick or whatever. So my son would go with him and they would play video games. And I was allowing that at the time. I would get a good nap in, I'd get a good break. Like, I'm chilling on that. But once that situation happened, my brother even tried to say, I've been taking care of MJ. I've been doing this. I'm like, oh, you's a whole bitch. All you do is play video games with him, nigga. You not cooking him no meals. You not making sure that he's bathing. You're not washing his hair. You're not getting his clothes clean. I will fight you right now. Like, I was really at that point talking about you're taking care of MJ. I will really beat the shit out of you, nigga. Like, I was really at that point. I was really at that point. That's why I was like, you know, I'm not accepting your fake apology. Because even in that conversation, we're not talking about nothing with me and what I have going on in my personal business. Everybody's like, you know, MJ is going through his situation. Everybody needs to be calm. You know, we have to think about MJ. We have to do this. Y'all need to, you know, come to common ground. He brought up the situation that happened with me on Instagram, which is none of his fucking business. Talking about how I went off on somebody on Instagram, talking about the situation where I actually got fired because people were on the same type of bullshit, same spirit, same environment, same sort of situation. Other people on bullshit with me. So I call niggas out because that's what I do. I'm a truth teller. I'm not just an esoteric conspiracy theorist, spiritual girl, none of that. Like, no, I am a third dimensional, real life grounded truth teller. I'm going to tell the truth no matter what it is, what the situation. And so he tries to bring that up, huh? It's okay. It's okay. So he tried to bring that up. And I'm just like, and then my parents, oddly, it was really weird how that happened. They're like, shh, 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 I don't bring that up. That's, you know, and I'm just like, okay, I don't know what that's about. I'm going to get into that another time. At the same time, why is you bringing that up saying I get into it with everybody? Like, why? Because he was talking about also how I got into it with one of my aunties. I cussed at my auntie because she's an enabler of my mom. I never had a grandmother. So by the time my mom got to a certain age, she had no mother figure to really correct her behavior. So there's only so much that one of her sisters can do or say. So I was telling the family group chat about some situations that were happening. And my auntie goes say, just pray about it. Just pray about it. So I cussed her ass out. I'm just like, fuck you with your pray about it. Like, why am I actively talking about abuse from my mother and you're talking about some pray about it? I will really beat the fuck out of all of y'all right now. Fuck this family. Fuck all y'all people. Fuck all y'all enablers. Fuck y'all narcissists. I don't give a shit. So then my brother in that conversation tried to bring up, oh, well, she gets into it with everybody. Yeah, because niggas is trying me. Niggas is really trying me. Niggas is really trying me, and I'm done. I'm putting my foot down. I'm letting it be known. I do not give a shit. I'm grown. Like, I'm not a child no more. I have my own child. You're not finna keep, like, you shouldn't even treat children like this. At the same time, I'm not even finna let you treat me like a child when I know I'm not a child. Like, I've been had my shit taken care of. I just happened to fall into some relationship problems that made it to where I couldn't continue on a certain path of success. So I had to make sure that I do things as a single person. You're not finna sit up here and tell me to pray about it when your sister is the one that's crazy as fuck. Trying to tell everybody else that I'm crazy. Okay, well, if I'm crazy, where I get it from? Answer me that question. If I'm crazy, where do I get it from? Explain that. Because if I recall, my record says that I went to jail over some traffic stuff. My mom's record, she got some whole other shit going on. But on my brother's record, he went to jail for domestic abuse. And so did my ex-husband. Also domestic abuse. When, even after those situations happened where my ex had to go to jail, my mom's still trying to make it seem like we could still work out our relationship after that point. This lady is fucking insane. And I've had to literally do my absolute best to not put hands on her. Because she's the type, she's not, like, she knows she's kind of old, so she can't get an attitude and be like aggressive physically the way that she was when I was a child. And she knows I will beat the fuck out of her. At the same time, she talks to everybody. She spreads all type of lies and narratives to every person who is around me, including people that I was employed by. So it's like, oh well, people like to call me unstable. It's like, oh well, you're not stable and you this and you that. And it's like, first of all, I'm in my 20s. I'm in my mid 20s, when people were saying that when I was in my early 20s. This fucking lady would tell everybody I was crazy and had mental problems. And whether it was true or not, I had them under control to a certain point where I wouldn't just lash out like in crazy ass situations. Like, if there was an older person who was really getting out of line, I would say something, but I'm not physically fighting people at work the way that I would have to physically fight people at home. So she would talk and tell everybody that I got all these problems, I got all these issues and stuff like that, just making up random stuff, even excluding the whole crazy part. Just talking shit. Whatever type of shit she could talk, she would say it to all the people at the church. And I'm not even finna get on. I'm gonna expose the pedophile shit that happened at my church another time. But I am calling out Vincent Askew, and he's a retired NBA player. He is a pedophile. I'm calling it out. Everybody at Jubilee Church of God in Christ can come at me if you fucking want to. I don't give a shit. Come at me if you want to. He's a pedophile, and he's been stalking me even longer than this situation was happening. He's been stalking me for 10 years. Come at me if you fucking want to. I posted about it on my Facebook page when I was 15, 16 years old. Y'all told me to delete the post. My mom's mad at me talking about the pastor's daughter got screenshots of it. Okay, tell her to get the screenshots. Report that nigga to the police. Why am I in trouble for that? This man's talking to me, telling me that he could provide me with modeling opportunities and to send him pictures. I'm going to get into that into another. That's going to be a whole other thing. That's a whole other situation. But again, with the narcissism and the reverse psychology, the manipulation, saying all this, saying all that to other people to make it seem like I'm being a problem when I was either being immature, I was being naive, or I was just straight up being lied to and manipulated and made to believe something that wasn't true. There was an illusion cast over me as a child or as a younger person, and I was being taken advantage of. But I was made to seem like I was the problem, and no one put two and two together. No one was able to just be like, you know what? Her mom has been saying this stuff for a long time, and by the way that she behaves as a person, I just don't see this being true. Like, no one just like took the time out to think that unless they were around my age. All these older people in my life just always believed everything my mom said at face value, even when they knew who I was. They know how I am. They know how I behave. And they know my father as well. Some of them came around when my mom would call the police for no reason. And to still play into her emotions, and to still play into her games, and to still play into her manipulation. Like, they're more than enablers at that point. It's like they're encouraging. Like I said, my mom would not only enable my brother, she would darn near encourage or enforce him to continue that behavior. Otherwise, why would it continue for so long, even in a dire situation where the government is involved in my life so much that I can't make any wrong move with my son around? I can't even make an innocent mistake as a mother. They were even criticized. My mom would criticize me homeschooling and brought that up to the courts, along with saying I had mental problems. She brought that up to the courts when my mother homeschooled me. My son is homeschooling right now. I have him watching educational math videos. He is in first grade, is already proficient in addition, subtraction, and areas of multiplication. I make sure that I did that for my son. He's able to read full sentences. He's able to spell. He's able to do everything that's proficient for a 6-year-old, a first grader, and beyond that. He's learning Hebrew. I don't even have that in his curriculum. That's something that I do, and he decides to do it as well with me. What does homeschooling have to do with child abuse, and why are you bringing that up to the court system as if it's something bad, as if you didn't do it yourself? I was homeschooled, and I had the opportunity to complete my bachelor's degree program in the same time period as an associate's degree program. I got accepted to Georgia State University before I decided that I did not want to go to college. My younger sister graduated a year early after being homeschooled, got her bachelor's degree from an HBCU, and is now overseas doing her studies in Europe. And then my youngest sibling, who was also homeschooled for a time period, is also in dual enrollment at her local university. Okay, we all fucking smart. What does homeschooling have to do with any of that? And why are you making it seem like it's a problem when you did it your own self? Now my heart beating. It wasn't beating this whole time until I started talking more about like the situation going on right now. Talking about the past stuff was a lot, because it's not even, I only talked about a little bit. Like, this is only a little bit of what I've been going through my whole life. And the fact that the shit's still happening today, I'm still in court right now for the shit that's going on with my son. And my mom wants to text me a couple of weeks ago saying, I apologize for any misunderstandings. You can't misunderstand going to the court, going out of your way to talk to law enforcement, and either lying, exaggerating, or creating narratives that are unnecessary. That is not a misunderstanding. Miss me with the bullshit. Miss me with all of it. And she's trying to figure out why I'm not talking to her. I don't think I've talked to her in 2 months, except for one thing where she texted me something pertaining to my son, and I told her to remove herself. You know, like how you have emergency contacts. I told her to remove herself from his file for that. That's the only thing I texted her in about 2 months. I didn't go to my family reunion. I have not seen her in quite a while, except for some other situations where I needed to get some stuff done and get, like, important mail pieces or whatever. I'm not finna chill with you. I'm not finna hang with you. I don't give a fuck. And it's like I can't even go to my family reunion because it's like, I don't know what you've been telling these people. And I'm not trying to fight any narratives. I'm not trying to have anybody feel sorry for me. I don't care what situation I'm going through. I'm supposed to be able to show up, have a good time, get to know whatever family members that I didn't know, catch up with my distant family members, and then leave. I'm not supposed to be fighting spiritual warfare at my family reunion. You're a fucking in-law. You're not even part of our family. You're my dad's wife. Nobody likes you anyway. People put up with you because my dad's cool. Light-skinned ass bitch. Nobody likes her. They just know she's quick to call the police. She's the epitome of a Karen. And then she does things that she knows, like, people will like, so that people will like her. So that people be like, oh, well, maybe she's not that bad, or maybe she's not so bad. But then she'll just go back and do her same crazy narcissistic thing again. It's a cycle. And people will, especially, and other people, because my brother was saying too, they need to take you to the crazy house. They need to lock you up at the mental institution and stuff like that. And I'm just like, and no one's paying attention to the way that our mother behaves, yet you're saying things like that. I have literally been able to clock and document her cycle. Other people in our family have been able to clock and document her cycle. It's like, oh, is she doing that thing again? Or, oh, it's that time of the year. Is she doing that thing again? Like, is she... We're able to see this in real life, in real time, in action, and clock it and document when it's happening. Yet, people want me to be in the mental institution so bad because I'm willing to speak on it. I'm willing to address it. So, with the situations that happened with my brother and even my ex-husband, it's like, I can only be so upset with them for certain things. It's really addressing my mom's narcissism and her enabling other people to be narcissistic towards me in my life. That is what I have to deal with, because other people, it's like, really, people could just leave me alone. Like, the whole aspect of people just not leaving me alone is her. Like, every time I find out something's going on, my mom's in the background on something. It's like they could just leave me alone, but instead she's telling them things, which is making them continue to harass me. They have their own brains and they should be able to make their own decisions as adult people. However, for some reason, when they listen to someone's mother, grandmother, whatever, they stay in tune and they stay engaged and they keep doing certain behaviors when they really could just leave me alone. Like, really, I could just be left alone. But people refuse to leave me alone, and now people are facing jail time. People are going through whatever sort of karma they're going through, and people want to think that I'm a witch and I'm casting spells on them, when I'm literally just praying to God, like, hey, whatever is necessary to happen to my enemies, people who have made themselves my enemy at this point, let them have it. I don't have to cast a spell. I don't have to hex people. I don't have to do any of that. God was doing a lot of stuff that I didn't even know about. And then once I found out about certain things, I'm like, God, let him have it. Let him have it. Whatever it is, let him have it. I'm not sending no love and light. No thoughts and prayers. I'm not sending any peace and nothing. I'm not sending none of that. Best wishes, no. You can't have any of my energy. You can't have any of my protection. You can't have any of it. Oh, I hope the best for the hell no, I don't. Nope. Whatever they deserve, they gonna get it. I'm not blocking any of their karma at all. I'm done. So, yeah, I wanted to share that. If you guys have stories that you are feeling confident enough to share, feel free to leave them in the comments after the stream is over. And we're breaking all these generational curses. Like, it's over with. Like, there's no more of this stuff going on. We're done. All of us are done. It's finished. It's over. It's done. There is no reason to continue harassing people in your own family. That's fucking retarded. If you don't like them, leave them alone. Literally, leave them alone. It's as simple as that. Livingstone Gathuru said, Kenya in the house. I'm also healing from these experiences. Wishing you healing and peace, love, queen. Much gratitude to you. Vincent Brent said, peace, goddess. Forgive them and move forward in pride and knowing you are right. I'm moving forward. It's way deeper than that, Vincent. Like, you can't just keep moving forward and doing better for yourself when people are actively coming against you. Like, it's way deeper than that. So I need you as a elder masculine to really comprehend that. It's way beyond just moving on and doing for yourself. That's what you're supposed to do. But when you're continually getting harassed and people attacking you because of this, you can't just move on. Those people find ways to constantly come at you and harass you. And I'm doing my best to be nice because you're one of my long-term supporters, but comments like that are very ignorant and they're very inconsiderate and they're very insensitive. Notorious J said, I with the heart. Crown Heart said, I wish I could hug you right now. I appreciate here, virtual hug, internet hug. Oh, when Wortman said, you good? I'm good now. I'm just getting all this out. Notorious J said, shadow work. Yep. Crown Heart said, cosmic Afro warriors, period. Notorious J said, evil spirit. Yes. Crystal Lightweight Mindset said, wow. I know, right? People have told me I should write a book and do a movie and stuff. And it's just I didn't want to because it's oh, that's my family. But it's Tyler Perry. Listen, sir. Tyler. Hit me up, fam. Cadigan 619 said Africano, okay, Moto, got arrested, Moto. Imagine getting arrested, Moto. Yeah, getting arrested over that, yeah. Notorious J said crazy, 999. Oshira, peace with the hearts, gratitude. Crystal Lightweight Mindstate said, we have so much in common, it's mind-blowing. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. A lot of us come together and we just figure out we basically have, like, our parallels are insane. I'm talking to this one goddess right now. She's like 7, 8 years older than me. If she would tell me stories, she'll be like, yeah, this happened to me when I was 18, this happened when I was 19, this happened when I was 20. And I'm thinking back in my life, I'm like, the same thing happened to me at 18, 19, and 20. Like, how did it? Like, just one example is like, you know, the music stuff, like being like in entertainment and everything like that, how we were crossing paths with certain celebrities or certain situations happening in our professional entertainment field, and just the parallels of it all. It's just, it's a lot. Okay. I'm going to leave that comment. Okay. No code needed. Official say yo. Mr. King Draco 101 said, Ellie, stay away from Archon, even the ones you believe is ancestors. Like, Mr. King Draco, respectfully, just shut up. Because I saw your comment earlier on the other video, and you obviously don't pay attention to context. You obviously just have preconceived ideas and narratives in your own head, and you refuse to listen for context. Shut up. You can unsubscribe if you want to. I genuinely couldn't care less. Oda the Sauce God said, it's crazy how family will go to very lengths to put you down, but it ain't even stopping nothing. Keep flowing, goddess. Much gratitude. And yeah, that's the thing. They haven't been able to stop me. And I don't get why you would want to stop someone in your own family from doing something. Because it's like they're literally facing their own shame. The more I become successful, the more people approach them. They don't think I know this, but it's like, my brother was a prophet. He went to school for prophecy and was in churches prophesying to people. So it's not as though, you know, I'm the only gifted one. My other siblings are spiritual and prophetic. Like, we all got that. We all have it. You know, there's usually only one black sheep. Like, you think about the show Wizards of Waverly Place on Disney Channel, and there's only one that gets to keep their powers. No, bruh. No. My whole family got all that. My whole family has that. And so, yeah, it's not always one black sheep. Sometimes the whole family is like a power family. But my whole family has that. So they know when certain things are going to happen in my life, and they try to stop it based on whatever narratives they try to create about me. It hasn't stopped anything. It hasn't stopped a single thing. I've been trying to be like a popular YouTuber for years, and even with this channel, I wasn't intending to be a popular creator just to be popular, just to have subscribers. There's a purpose behind it. But in my other channel, I've been working for years, and it's like something will always happen to where I couldn't continue making videos, and people would lie about things. Like even my brother giving me a laptop this one time and then taking it away. And it was just like, why would you give it to me in the first place if you didn't want me to keep it? Like, it's just weird. But regardless of any of that, it hasn't stopped anything. I have found different areas of success in my life despite all of the quote-unquote setbacks that have happened. And it's like, oh, well, that's just life. Life happens. No, I expect like a business partner to betray me. I expect for a business to go under because of circumstances that are out of my control. I expect things to, you know, car accidents, like, you know, that's life. Your family coming against you, I'm not talking, like, my family doesn't blatantly come out to me and say, oh, you'll never be nothing. Oh, that's not going to work because of da. Like, my family, they don't do that. They create situations and scenarios in my life for me to face a low self-esteem and setbacks. Like, it's not just life, and it's not just negative talk. No, it's people creating scenarios in my life on purpose and intentionally. Whether it's super petty or whether it's actually detrimental to my safety. So, yeah, it's not going to stop nothing. Mr. King Draco says, sorry if I offended you, just saying, be mindful. Look, I told you, like, you're trying to give me advice based on your own narratives and beliefs without full context, because you came to an entirely different video to say what you said in the previous comment section when you didn't even watch the full video. I know you didn't, based off your comment, even this one here. I can tell you didn't. You saw the title and you assumed that I am the person that I currently am right now versus actually realizing that there is an entire purpose behind it. I am not offended. I am addressing your ignorance. Okay? Y'all got to stop coming on this internet thinking that you're hurting someone's feelings and that someone's offended just because they address you. When someone is addressing you and confronting an issue, You are to look within self and the situation with context and understanding and overstanding, not just blatant opinions. All right. Crown Heart said, "I love your hair." I appreciate that. Much gratitude. But yeah, that's it. I'm done. Um, I know my family's gonna see this. People from my church, my old church, are gonna see this, and they're gonna be like, "What? Fuck you. Fuck all of y'all." Respectfully, you know, there's like a good few of y'all that like I'm okay with, but like I be watching y'all because y'all be doing weird shit, thinking that I don't know about it. No, like that's a whole different thing. Like that whole church, like that whole organization is a cult, and like it's a coven because it don't make sense. That's not like church. Like y'all are literally the Pharisees in the Bible. Like very literally, most of y'all are the Pharisees in the Bible that you teach about every Sunday, every Wednesday, and you don't even see that you're Pharisees. The same way that the Pharisees, they killed Jesus, nigga. They killed Yeshua, and then they realized they were wrong after he was dead. Y'all doing the same thing, and y'all didn't learn nothing. You didn't learn nothing. You learned absolutely nothing. You think going to church and paying your tithes and giving offering is what you're supposed to do? No, that's actually the least important thing. The most important thing is to get an understanding and actual connection and relationship with the Most High God. Even me saying the Most High trips y'all out because you think God is just God. Like God is the Most High God. There are other level gods. Y'all don't even know what God you're serving. Most of y'all are serving Lucifer and you don't know it. Mr. King Draco said, "Wow, Crown Heart with the heart face and the angel emoji." Yeah, in fact, yeah. Because that's, like I said, that's a whole nother thing with the pedophile shit. Because I'm not the only one in the church who had experiences with pedophile shit. I could really bring down the whole church and probably unlock some other shit going on in the congregation just with one YouTube video. Me saying this much is already a lot. So it's coming. Be fearful. Be fearful. You have everything to fear. Because y'all were wrong in the beginning and you're wrong now thinking that you cover stuff up for years and years and years. Oh no, it's go time. It's go time for everybody. I'm not just coming at my direct family. I'm not just coming at my mom. I'm not just coming at my siblings and my ex-husband. No, I'm coming for everybody. All these curses, all these magic spells and all this stuff that y'all swear y'all are against when you're doing it all the time. Like my mom always knows when there's a witch around. How do you know when there's witches around if you're so religious? Like even in church when they would say magic isn't real, then you find out magic's real. Oh, well, magic's evil. But which one is it? Is it not real or is it evil? Because now you contradicted yourself. And y'all are performing in these rituals every first Sunday, talking about eating the flesh and drinking the blood of your Savior. Like, why are y'all performing ceremonial rituals and calling what we do demonic? We don't do flesh and blood rituals. At least most of us don't. We burn sage and candles. Oh, is that wrong? I thought y'all also use holy oil. Yeah, it's over with. It's over with. Like, the game's up, the jig's up. Y'all can keep playing the violin till the ship sinks if you want to. It's over with. I will take down every single religious construct that I have to at this point because I see that it's just not going to get anywhere until these institutions no longer exist at this point. Yeah. Mr. King Draco said, I self-serve. I serve self. Okay. Crystal Lightweight Mindset said, the original gang stalkers and black ballers and Pharisees. Yes, period. Why does everybody at the church always know your business? Why? They spiritually look into your life. I'm going to end the video. But they spiritually look into your life. When you ask it for prayer, them niggas is looking into your life and telling other people about it. And they're not giving you the proper information that you're supposed to know. Yeah. All that. Okay. Respectfully, Draco, like, stop commenting. I'm finna end the video anyway, but you said meat is like, I didn't even mention meat. They eat crackers and drink juice at church or wine. Like, I'm not talking about meat as far as flesh. Like, I don't know what you got going on in your head, but you're not thinking and using critical thinking skills. Please stop commenting. Crown, like I said, if the stuff I say is just too much for you, you can respectfully unsubscribe. I don't care. I don't do this for subscribers. I don't do this to be popular. You can leave if I'm speaking at too high of a level for you to comprehend. Crown Heart said, as abundant beings, it is crazy how the good people are literally taken advantage of, as if people are fearful of bad people. Yeah, exactly. Crystal Lightweight Mindset said, a witch knows a witch. That's exactly what I came to the realization of recently. I was just like, damn, she knew the whole time because she is one. And I found out about my mom's bloodline. It's just a bunch of witchy bitches. Just a bunch of witchy bitches. Just a bunch of them. And that's why I am the way that I am. And I didn't know that. But I'm wrong for addressing it, though. I'm wrong for addressing it. But anyway, I'm going to see y'all in the next one. Shalom, Rain of Coins. I appreciate y'all listening to my story. And like I said, after the stream is over, you can leave in the comments your stories if you are feeling confident enough to share. Let's all do the shadow work together. Let's get rid of this stuff. Let's break all these curses. Let's just get it over with. I'm tired. I'm done being silent. I'm done dealing with it. We can get out of these court cases. We can get out of these problems and bondages. And for all the motherfuckers in my mom's family who are not trying to properly disperse the land that is owed to us, our inherited land, I'm coming for all of you. I'm coming for all of you because y'all have been holding that land hostage for generations now. It's time for all of y'all to pay up. Literally, I'm getting my land. Got me over here stressed out about this, stressed out about that because y'all old motherfuckers don't want to take care of shit for real. Nigga, I'm coming for all of you. And if I have to take the whole piece of land myself, I will. It's supposed to be dispersed amongst everybody and y'all can't cooperate with nobody. I will take the whole thing by myself and disperse it if I need to. You old bitches. Anyway, Draco said, well, I guess I struck a nerve. Shadow work. Okay, now I'm going to call you a bitch because you completely missed everything. Like, you didn't strike a nerve. I'm not mad at you. I am insulted by your uncomprehensiveness of what I'm saying. Like, you're not comprehending what I'm saying. And you keep saying things. I said respectively, stop commenting. You can unsubscribe if you want to, yet you're still commenting, saying, I'll be back. You don't even recognize your own narcissism because no one has ever addressed you about it. And even if they have, you probably disregarded it and made it seem as if they're projecting onto you when you're actively playing an asshole in my comment section right now. J-Man said deep gratitude. Gratitude for you as well. All right. Shalom, Rain of Coins. I will see y'all in the next one. We getting all of them.